Hey, everybody. Welcome to another grad interview. Tonight, we are talking with Robin. Robin is a grad. She's going to tell us all about her experience with Pretty Focused. And what is really cool about her story is this lady right here is an entrepreneur. She is not new to business, to owning a business, to having a business. And so I'm excited to talk to her tonight about her experience, not just with Pretty Focused, but how it compares to maybe other businesses that she has. And so if you guys have any questions for her, put it in the comments below, so she will answer any questions that you have. Just lay them on her. And if you are a student, I want you to put that in the comments. Say, hey, I'm a student watching. If you've not joined Pretty Focused yet, but I haven't joined yet, but I'm thinking about it. So because we want to hear from you guys. So Robin, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Like I said, I'm really excited to really talk with you. So why don't we start back at the very beginning?
Okay.
What were you doing before Pretty Focused?
So before Pretty Focused, I have been a consultant with Mary Kay for over 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I started when I was a baby.
Wow.
So that's where I started. My husband and I also own a campground here I live in Deadwood, South Dakota, which is a big time tourism town. And so we own a 100+ site RV campground here in town as well. So I've done that for about 25 years. So we started it as a family, purchased it as a family. And then about 10 years ago, my husband and I purchased it from my parents. And so I do that in the summer as well. So, yeah.
Okay. Wow. And you said, where is that? And where's South Dakota?
In Deadwood, South Dakota.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where Wild Bill Hickok was shot. And
so
Deadwood...
you have a lot of tourists.
Yeah. Yes. Huh. Yes.
That's
and we
awesome.
have legalized gaming as well. So, hey, there you go.
I love that. So you're not new to business.
No.
You're not new. It doesn't scare you, right? Because
it doesn't, but new businesses do.
Okay. So you're a Mary Kay consultant. You have this business with your husband. What made you go, I know, I'm going to be a food photographer?
Kind of not. None of them are quite along the same streamline or anything like that.
Right.
Actually, my daughter. I have to thank my daughter-in-law for this. She had done recipe testing for her cousin. Her cousin was part of Pretty Focused, and she had told me about it. And I thought, oh, great! It was something she could do at home and stuff. And she loves cooking and things like that, and didn't think much of it. And somehow the conversation came up again, and so she started explaining. I just asked her, I said, well, how does all of that work? And she started explaining how much she knew about it. And then I started researching it, and I'm like, wait a minute. You're telling me that all I have to do is photograph what I already do? Because I've also done, I guess I should count that kind of side business as well, is that I've done custom cakes for about 10 years as well, for mostly family and friends and things like that. So I've always enjoyed baking and things. So yeah, I just kind of said, you mean if I just took photos, learned how to take photos of what I was already doing, there's income in that? And so I researched it. I watched all the roadmap videos and things. And yeah, it just was just so interesting to me. And it was, yeah, I mean, and the income, of course, was fabulous. I'm like, so I can take a couple of hours to produce this product, and they're going to pay me how much?
Yeah. So what were you in it for the income? Were you in it for, like, what was your why? Was it because you were looking for something, a purpose? You wanted something creative to do? What was it?
Yeah, I've always been a real creative person. My husband will retire in October of this year. And I just needed something on top of what we were already doing to kind of replace what he's doing. He's the maintenance engineer for the post office.
Okay.
And
Wow.
so yes, I wanted to be able to replace his income. And so that on October, well, the campground won't be open anymore at the end of October, but at the end of October, I'll be like, here's your campground. You can have
Right. Sure.
I need to go and do all my fun things that I've already developed in my life. So that's kind of has been my why on why I've focused on the business side of it. But I started it just because of the creativity part of it all, the connection to baking, already having, operated other businesses and having a little bit of that background and thought, this sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I might as well give it a try. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. I see that we have some people watching who are thinking about joining. We've got Patricia, we've got Jason, a couple of other people I know are watching and they haven't joined yet. And so I would love to know from those individuals, like, what is it about, Pretty Focused? Is it, like Robin's like the baking? I can bake and make. I love doing that. So for some people, it's like that creative outlet. For some people, it's like, I need to replace my 9 to 5. And you've got that too. I mean, you've got a couple of different whys that you have going on. Sometimes it's more than one. Sometimes it's, we're dead set. And then, others, we just like, others say that they just need a sense of purpose, and they have found a sense of purpose through what they can do with Pretty Focus. So those of you who are watching, I'd love to know what it is that intrigues you about Pretty Focused. And so, so how long did it take you to go through the course then?
So I signed up, I think, at the very end of January in 2022, and was making a good pace. But then we get to May and campground and all of that fun stuff.
Sure.
But still worked through while working full time there, worked through my course, and then graduated in March of 2023. So a little over a year.
Okay. All right. And that's something that people want to know a lot of, is like, how long is this going to take me? I just had a conversation in an email with somebody, she, about this exact thing. She's got kids in school, and she's wondering how long it's going to take her to go through this. And so, do you think that you could have gone through it faster if you had the time? What do you think is realistic for people?
I know there's lots of people that have done it in 4 to 6 months. I think it's realistic that you can do it faster if you've got the time and the focus. Mine was more about, I tend to be a little bit of a perfectionist. And so it took me a while to decide that it was time to work on my portfolio. So I probably did somewhere in the neighborhood of, I don't know, almost 30 practice shoots before I ever started talking to Lindsay and things about my portfolio.
Okay.
And so, but yeah, and even if you're already working or have kids or things that kind of take away part of your time, I still think it's pretty doable in less than a year. So yeah, I think, but I think also I come from I have a little bit of photography background. I did our school annual and stuff when I was in high school. Now that's a long time ago. And my youngest has done photography in college and things like that. So he was able to help me a little bit, but just learning the ins and outs. In fact, I just went back and rewatched your update on aperture. And because that was the hardest thing for me, was just learning my triangle and all of that good stuff. So perfecting that took me a little bit longer. I'm also a person that I'd rather go from number 1 to number 10 instead. I don't want to have to learn everything in between or read the manual or all of those things. I just want to be able to do it. In fact, the girls in the mastermind were kind of funny, because when I got my new camera, it was like, I just want to shoot. Why do you want me to read the manual on this camera? I just want my pictures to look good.
And what new camera did you get?
So I got a Nikon Z7II
Nice.
mirrorless. Yes, very nice with a
You love
50
it.
millimeter. Oh yes.
What were you shooting on before?
A Nikon DL. What is it? Just a kit one that my son had. That's what I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huge upgrade then.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Did you when do you recommend? I know we're kind of getting ahead here, but when do you recommend people upgrading?
So I upgraded. Let's see, the girls probably pushed me in November, so it was probably about 4 to 6 months.
You're like,
Um,
the girls made me do it.
girls made me do it. Yes, they did. And Tia was just like, "Oh, Robin, your photography needs it. Just make the investment." Jen was getting hers as well. So yeah,
Nice.
I
Good.
think as soon as you start seeing, not necessarily, I wouldn't define it as success in your shop or success from what you're selling, but if you're kind of, I don't want to say outgrowing what if you're outgrowing your camera, if does if you're better than your camera, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Then yeah, then it's
Yeah, it does.
to get
Yeah.
a different one.
Yeah. Um, okay, so then going back to the course,
Mhm.
and graduating. So when you graduated, how long did it take you to connect with clients?
So graduated right at the end of March. Took most of April to kind of figure out what direction I wanted to go with it, and started setting up everything. I did start right away with having a shop through Shopify, and
Okay.
got all of that set up, and had my first sale on May. Went back and looked it up on May 19th. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So about 6 weeks by the
Nice.
time I had all of my I's dotted and T's crossed. As far as the business, I really took the time to make sure all of my business stuff was set up too.
Sure.
So yeah.
Right, right. Yeah, and that is huge. So then let me ask a more specific question is when you were ready and you
Mhm.
launched your shop from maybe that first time that you posted
Mhm.
it, that you had recipes for sale to your first sale, how
Mhm.
long was that?
Um, Maybe a week or two.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. Were you happy with that?
I was. In fact, I had to kind of think about this, is that in new photographers and new business owners and with Pretty Focus and their new businesses will probably relate, but at first you'll be constantly refreshing your site to see if it says sold out yet.
Yep.
Like every two to
Yep.
3 minutes, refresh. Um, Today I don't do that every minute.
Right. You're too busy for that.
That's right. So yeah, yes, I was happy with that. Um, I wasn't like an overnight success, or I sold my portfolio out in the hour after I graduated. Those types of things. So congratulations to all of those that did that. But I think the more normal path would be for people to just kind of set up their business and take the time to do all of those things that come along with that. But yes, I was surprised at first at how quickly I started selling products. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what has business been like for you since then? I mean, because we're coming up on a year now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You're about 10 months in. So what
Mm-hmm.
has business been like for you?
It's been fabulous. I've exceeded my expectations. I went back and looked at my numbers just to kind of see. So for the rest of 2023, I had almost $16,000 in photography sales, which was just like, wow, okay. I really just wanted to be able to. My husband's always said, I can't retire until you replace paying our mortgage, was always his idea of
Okay, sure. Yeah.
apparently giving him permission to retire. So I've easily done that. And moving forward into the new year, yeah, I've already done over $2,000 in photography just this month. So it's not. It kind of goes up and down. That's the one thing that I guess I would say is a little bit of a challenge. And the girls and I in the mastermind kind of talked about that too. And I know that you're so fabulous, Melody, about offering all kinds. And if anything, I would encourage potential students, new students, watch everything that is offered to you. Take all the boot camps, invest in your business if that's, if this is what you really want to do. Take in all of that education, because that will help you along the way. So I think that, always selling out and figuring out kind of that what people are looking for, what your blogger is looking for, has been probably my biggest challenge. Tia asked us in our mastermind one time, so how do you guys decide what recipes you're going to shoot for the week? And we all just kind of looked at each other like, well, I don't know, whatever sounds good. And she's like, well, that's probably not the smartest way to go about your business.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, that's right. What do I have in my refrigerator this week? So
sure, right.
Learning those trends and evergreen type of recipes and things like that is still can be a challenge for me as well. Figuring out, it'll surprise me what will sell and what maybe takes a little bit longer, and I'm always surprised. We talked about that too, is that just don't get frustrated if your photography is always, I would think, always be beautiful, but don't second guess yourself. It just might be the season. It might just be what people are looking for at the time, but don't ever give up on your photography too soon. So just keep it in there. Yep.
Yeah, that's really good advice. That's really good advice. Farhana wants to know, did you say 1616 or 60,000 last year?
16. I'd love the 660, but no one.
And is that a number that you were comfortable with? Were you pushing for more than that? Was there a goal you were trying to meet?
That's the number that I am comfortable with moving forward. It's not what I certainly would like. My goal is to be obviously more than that. So
yeah, absolutely. Yes. If you set your goal, but for 2023, were you happy with that?
Yeah. For what was it? 7 months, 6 months, 7 months.
Yeah. Because you didn't work the full year.
No.
Right.
No.
So it was just half the year. So, okay.
There you go.
All right. So what's your goal for this year?
So my goal for this year is to really be able to, so I have a pre-sale group, which I would encourage new students, new graduates to have. That's something, it's just simply a Facebook group that your bloggers can be part of. I got that from Amy. Which I love Amy Treasure. She is just a wealth of knowledge. And
yes, she is.
Just commented on her photography, her little drip shot on her French toast bites. I was like, oh my goodness.
I know she's so talented. Yes,
she is. And she's so giving of her advice and information and things like that. But that's kind of where I got the idea from. That's the other thing that I love about Pretty Focus is, and it's something that I always have loved about my Mary Kay, is that people are willing to share. People are willing to give advice. They're not, holding back because what would that mean for my business? They're very giving and able to share their knowledge and things like that. So I really appreciate that. But my goal for 2023 would be well over a $50,000 income for the year. Okay. So that wouldn't quite probably replace my husband's, but I think he would be happy with that.
Yeah. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So I would say that's a really good goal. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice do you have for people who are, because we have people in the comments, they're thinking about joining.
Mhm.
It's a commitment, right? It's a career. It's not something that you just sit on the sidelines and, it kind of trickles in. What advice do you have for them?
If you're thinking about it, this is something that I'll give you a little trick. And this comes kind of from my Mary Kay background, because I've worked with lots of consultants on my personal team. If you're thinking about this business, do what I've always told people is it's called a sleep test. Okay, so if you're thinking about being part of Pretty Focused, and you go to bed and you things start popping into your mind about, well, what can I do with this? Can I really be successful at this? Oh, no, I could never do anything like this. But it sticks in your mind. If it sticks in your mind, whether positively or negatively, the only way that you're going to find out if it's for you is to give it a try. If you go to bed and you don't think another thing of it, then maybe, it's something that you should consider a little bit longer. But if it just kind of sticks with you, yeah, I would just go ahead and give it a try. I mean, what do you have to lose?
Yeah, there's a 30-day money back guarantee.
Yes, exactly.
So if you enroll and you get a weekend, don't get a weekend and don't open up like without opening anything. That's not cool.
No.
Open up, get on the list for our orientation call that's new this year. Get into the Facebook group, get started, and give it a try. And if you, like she said, if you decide it's not for you, like, you just ask for a refund. We're super cool about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the worst that could happen. Because I love that you said it, because we have like a lot of, I'm sure, of overthinkers.
Oh, yeah.
Of like, what is it? Well, what if I enroll and what if I don't like it? And it's just, you just immediately go to worst case scenario. But if you just take a step back, it's like, well, worst case scenario is you learn that it's not for you.
Right.
And you ask for a refund.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Right.
So we have a couple of, Patricia needs some clarifying.
Okay.
She's asked a couple of different questions about cooking recipes.
Mm-hmm.
So let's clarify for Patricia what the work looks like and like what this all entails. So do you do recreations or do you just do exclusives?
Primarily exclusives. I've done a couple of recreations, which is fine, and I'm open to that as well, but predominantly exclusives. Probably one of the reasons why I have a lot of businesses that I am in charge of is because when I was a kid, if my mom asked me to clean my room, I was having nothing to do with it because it was somebody telling me what to do. But if it was my decision to do it, then it was fine. And so I've always had to be a person, I think, I finally figured out I needed to be a person that was my own boss, in control of my own time. In the 30 years that I've had businesses, have done other little jobs. I went and worked for the school for a while because my friend was the principal of the middle school, and quickly learned why I didn't want to work for anybody else. That's kind of why I started, I guess, doing exclusives, is because I kind of wanted to be in control of my time. But I kind of like the recreation side of it too, because then the recipe is given to you and you're just recreating something for a blogger's page and things like that. So, but predominantly exclusives. And what that looks like is just simply kind of like we talked about, choosing recipes for that week that I've started, since Tia asked that question of how do you choose your recipes, started researching and seeing what's, in season and things like that. We tend to try to look 2, 3 to 4 months ahead down the road on what. So like right now, you'd probably be looking for St. Patty's Day is you're probably on the cusp of that, or Easter and spring and things like that.
Or 4th of July.
Or yeah, I did see somebody had 4th of July recipes out there already. So, that's where it starts, is just kind of looking for those types of recipes that if that's the direction you go. I know a lot of photographers don't necessarily choose to do holidays and things like that, but seasonal is definitely a place to start. So looking for a seasonal type of recipe that would be coming down the road and shooting that recipe. And so, yeah.
Or a recipe that you would use for the 4th of July, but could also be used for Super Bowl, like, the dips and all of that stuff. So, or, could be an appetizer at Easter time or Christmas or something like that. So, so Patricia, so what she's talking about is an exclusive is where you develop a recipe. And so Robin enjoys developing recipes, but we also have photographers who don't enjoy that, and they just want to be given a recipe. They just want to be told what to do, and they want to just recreate recipe that's already been done. And so, in fact, I gave some examples on Tuesday of what this looks like. So one of those examples that we have is Redonda. She's one of our coaches, and I share her example on Tuesday during our info session. And so what happens is the blogger will give her recipes to photograph, and so she will make and photograph the food, and then she delivers those photos to her clients the end of the month, the end of the week, whenever her deadline is. So she gets recipes in bulk ahead of time. She plans out when she's going to do them, and then she delivers them, the images, by the deadline. And so those are kind of the two different paths that people take, whether they develop the recipes or they recreate, we call it recreate or rephotograph an existing recipe. But we are cooking. We are doing the cooking. And that's something people are like, wait a minute, I have to cook? Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
you do.
You want to enjoy, you got to enjoy cooking. Like we've had grads come back and say, I hate cooking. And I'm like, well, only once, a long time ago though. But loving to cook is really important. And it's probably why a lot of you guys are here, is because you do enjoy being in the kitchen. You do enjoy cooking.
Yeah.
I also have clarified.
I have a kind of a middle of the road customers, Melody, that I have customers that will ask me, they don't necessarily hire me to do the recipe per se, but I do have a lot of blogger customers that will say, hey, I'm looking for a chili recipe, or I'm looking for a bread recipe. And I will take those and produce those for them. 99% of them are purchased by that person that suggested that. So that's kind of an in between. They're not necessarily hiring me, and they're not necessarily just buying out of my shop, but I'm very open to suggestions. I love people who will tell me kind of what they're looking for. A lot of people are just looking for specifics on their blog.
Yeah. Well, and that takes a lot of the guesswork out of it for you.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I going to make? They just told me what to make. So, yeah. So do you have to pay for ingredients? This is another really common question that we get, is who's paying for ingredients? So how do you handle ingredients, Robin?
So you, as the photographer, obviously are going to have to pay for those ingredients. Now, I will lecture or instruct a little bit on being a business owner. And so the business pays for those things. Your family reaps the rewards of those things. Hopefully it's a good recipe and that they'll eat it afterwards. But yeah, I mean, you're going to be the one that pays for the ingredients. And obviously there's an investment in any business that you do initially. And so you're going to have to initially invest in yourself, in your business, and take a little bit of out of pocket. But ultimately, you want to run your business like a business and make your business pay for those ingredients. But my daughter-in-law that introduced me to Pretty Focus is now my recipe tester. And I have to remind her that because, groceries are a little bit higher than they've been in the past, obviously. But I always kind of have to remind her and remind myself is that for the most part, unless it's, like I said, some recipe that your family's not going to enjoy, you are already investing that money into that meal for the day anyway. So you're actually, in essence, kind of saving some money because you're going to invest in that recipe. Your family's going to enjoy it, and then you're going to sell it to somebody. So there you go.
Yeah. So, of course, if you're doing an exclusive, you're going to be the one to go to the grocery store and make the purchase. But we also encourage them to work that into the price of the exclusive.
Right.
If you're doing recreations, Jenny, the blogger covers the cost of ingredients. And so some photographers will put like a flat rate for those ingredients. If you're doing a lobster bisque, of course, they're going to expect to have to pay for the lobster. But Lenore shaking her head. Yes, I see her backstage. But the cost of ingredients is covered, whether you adjust your prices for exclusives to cover those, or you charge a flat fee, or some bloggers will pay for what those ingredients was. The tricky part is like if you're out of a bag of flour and you need it for a recipe, you're not going to use the entire 5-pound bag of flour for one client, right? And so you can't charge them that full amount for that bag of flour. But so people will prorate their ingredients, per client. So that's where kind of getting in and just doing a flat fee makes a lot of sense. Again, unless it's an expensive situation. Recipe. There we go. Patricia has another follow-up question of how do I find clients? So Robin, how does she find clients?
You obviously, when you graduate, are going to automatically be part of the Buyers Club. And so you're listed in that listing, and lots and lots of bloggers have access to that list as well. I wouldn't rely on that exclusively. And so through my store, I send out a newsletter. And so I encourage my customers or my visitors that come to my shop to sign up for my newsletter. They get a little bit of a bonus for doing that they know when new recipes are in my shop before I ever put them then on the Buyers Club Facebook group, which is your next avenue that you can access customers and bloggers and things like that through that. And then also my pre-sale group is another avenue where they can come and they can join that part of it. Now there's a crossover there. Most of my customers that are my customers in my shop are in my pre-sale group as well. So,
and you got all of them from the Buyers Club?
Yes. Yeah, I would really encourage as almost grads, new grads, things like that. If you're starting to look at, okay, I'm about to graduate, where am I going to find these customers? And Tia's always pushed it, and Melody's always pushed, don't be afraid to go on the Buyers Club Facebook group and introduce yourself and show what you have and let people know. Tia used to tell us how many times our posts, because we can't see it from our end, who's seen the post. And she says, only 10 people have seen that post, or only 15 people have seen that post. So don't be afraid, even if you're a graduate now, to get back on there and post again. We don't want to necessarily bug our customers per se, but
Yeah,
you do.
they don't like over posting.
That's right. But
They
you
don't like
do.
that either.
No, but you do need to make yourself known. And if you're just, posting once a month or something like that, your chances
Correct.
of being seen probably aren't. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, is there another way to do this business without cooking? Can you take pictures for chefs or cooks?
I guess if you knew some, you could, but yeah, there's.
Yeah, Patricia, we teach exclusively how to work for food bloggers. So that is what all of our curriculum is geared towards. The methodology that we teach, the strategies are all geared towards food blogging. That doesn't mean that it's not transferable. We've had some people go on to photograph cookbooks. And so they have the skills, they've learned the skills in order to be able to do that. But we teach primarily in the course all about food blogging.
Mhm.
Let me see if anybody, I think we've covered everybody's questions. Karen says, I need to know what bloggers are looking for and how to get clients, which we just covered how to get clients. We introduce our grads to clients inside of our buyers club. But what are bloggers looking for?
That's like I said, that one can be tough. But again, Melody and when Stephanie was part of the group as well, are so good about, they kind of do some of that work for you in terms of being in contact with bloggers and finding out kind of what they want, what they're looking for, even as far as what they're looking for in your photography and things. So I wouldn't be afraid to take that step forward if I didn't feel like I had those questions answered. Maybe those answers will come to you. Those answers will be offered to you. The women of Pretty Focus are so wonderful in giving you those resources and constantly updating that information. They're great at bothering the bloggers. Let them bother the bloggers.
Yeah.
Go
But
ahead.
you've also, like you said, have gotten requests from people.
Right.
And so a lot of times they just tell you what they need.
Right.
A lot of times what they need based off of what has sold in your shop and based off of what hasn't sold.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you people vote with their money. And so based off of what they're purchasing from you, what they like and what they don't like. As far as getting started, we definitely lay a foundation for you, especially now whenever you enroll as of January of 2024, everyone who enrolls gets our selling exclusive masterclass. And this dives into how to develop recipes and really helps point you in the right direction, lays that foundation for you of what bloggers are looking for. And then as you start to work with your clients, you know what they want. You have a good understanding of what it is that they need. Because they're buying from you constantly. And then you're able to really tailor the work for those people who are buying from you on your email list on a consistent basis, or who are requesting recipes from you on a consistent basis.
Mm-hmm. I'd also say, look at your things that I've noticed recently, and it might be because I've certainly joined bloggers pages, their blogs and things like that. But you can also pay attention to your own personal Facebook news feed and kind of see what people are looking at, what people are commenting on. That'll tell you a little bit about what people are looking for and what people are clicking on and searching for. So that's helpful too.
Absolutely. So what mail service do you use for your email list?
I use, and I may not be pronouncing this right, the Seguno app off of Shopify. So it's Seguno. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Just the app. Mm-hmm. And there's different ones. You can kind of pick and choose. I know other photographers use other email, but they're real simple to use. They're not. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we have somebody said that some grads have even gone on to do product photography too. So a lot of similarities, some differences for sure whenever it comes to products. Um, so, Jason, this is a great question. Focusing
Mhm.
on a niche like air frying the sous vide, is it beneficial for selling exclusives? I would say yes, because especially now, air frying is so popular. Um, that a lot of people love those air frying recipes. But I would also say um, to when you start broad, like to cast a little bit wider net, and then as you find your clientele, you're able to niche down. You do a variety of recipes. You got the air fryer. You're testing, basically. You're testing the waters. You do the air fryer. You do the sous vide. You do some classic, and you see which ones are going faster, which ones people like, and which ones are still sitting there. And then that will also tell you what clients are looking for.
Mhm.
And so, as you know, like with any business, there's a lot of testing of the waters, right?
Right.
You just test. You just test, and then if it doesn't work, guess what? You test again. Like it's just one big long experiment, is what owning a business is. Like, I think that
Yes.
the high school science teachers would be very happy, I feel like, to see it.
T-
What do you think? What do you think
yes,
about those
I
teachers?
agree. I have to give myself a little bit of props, and Tia Lynn loves me now because, as you may or may not know, Tia Lynn is the queen of spreadsheets and charts and all sorts of fun stuff. So I finally sat down after about, I don't know, this fall, and just exactly what Melody said. I took all of my recipes, and it actually surprised me. I took all of the recipes that had sold and and categorized them into dinners and baked goods and side dishes and cookies and things like that, and actually figured out which one of those recipes or which one of those categories sold the most.
Mm-hmm.
And I sent it to Tia. Like I said, she was so proud of me for having a spreadsheet.
I'm sure she was.
And so that's a great way to kind of figure out, like Melody said, you're going to cast a wide net to kind of see maybe who is attracted to your photography, is attracted to what you're cooking, maybe at first, but then because we talked about that too, is niching down to that. Once you find those clients, then you can kind of niche down to specifically catering to them in a way. And yeah, who knows? You may find a
Mm-hmm.
whole clientele that um, wants air fry
Yep.
recipes, or yeah. So yeah.
So how many hours, Robin, are you working a week or a month?
So per week, I do 3 exclusive right now. I'm on a 3 exclusive a week uh, pace, and that generally I had full knee replacement done at the end of September. So in the middle of my career, I had knee replacement done at the end of September,
Oh my
and yeah,
goodness.
and then yeah, Tia and I were kind of within a couple of months there of having major surgeries there, and then had to have a revision done just a couple of weeks ago, a manipulation of the knee. So that wasn't as bad as the
Oh
replacement.
no.
So, but it's all about commitment. But to answer your question, I've gotten better. Um, the perfectionist in me would take 50 to 60 photos, and through all of the lessons that Pretty Focus offers you, all the courses, all the boot camps, all of the additional education, which I encourage you to take all the additional education as well. I've invested in this business. I am all in on what I am doing.
Love it.
And yeah, you'll get better at that. You will learn skills that first time Tia said, I'm in and I'm out. I'm my 20 to 30 photos, I'm in and out. I know when I'm shooting. Planning ahead will also help your time management, knowing what your shot list is. This may be getting a little over everybody's knowledge, but knowing what your heroes are and things and what you're going
Mm-hmm.
to shoot helps that time frame. So back to the question, I probably spend very beginning to very end. So starting from writing the recipe and figuring out the ingredients that I need to putting it in my shop, I probably only today spend, I don't know, 2 hours from start to finish
Great.
on a recipe. So yeah, I've gotten much faster. So if I'm doing
Good.
3 recipes, that probably takes me 6 hours or so, maybe 7 during the week. There also is some prep to your business, writing the newsletter, putting your products in your shop, those types of things, writing new recipes. So I would bet that I probably spend, I don't know, less than 15 hours a week at my business. Which is very comfortable to me. I like making lots of money for little time. That's
Yeah,
always, yeah.
that's impressive. I mean, that's very impressive.
Mm-hmm. And
I
I
love
think I
that.
must be odd because when we were talking about it in mass, I love to edit. And I know we all kind of have our own likes and dislikes. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you find
Mm-hmm.
yourself in this new business, figuring out that, okay, maybe process shots isn't exactly, which is what I don't enjoy doing. Some people don't like to edit those types of things. Try to embrace it as much as possible. Just like Patricia was asking, do I have to cook? Yes, you have to cook. So try to embrace those parts of the business that maybe aren't your favorite, because they will get you to the point that you get to enjoy 15 hours a week and making a couple $1,000s a month. So that's
Yeah,
kind of nice to.
that's really nice. When you put it in perspective, um, of how much you're working versus how much you're making. Like
Oh
you're
yeah.
not working a full 40 hour, you know what I mean? Like you
No.
have a really good hourly rate,
Mm-hmm.
a really, really
Yeah.
good hourly rate. So
Yeah. And I've always
yeah,
heard
so
the quote, short-term sacrifice for long-term gain.
yeah,
So sacrifice that little bit of time it takes to learn the business and get good at your business, because it'll pay great gains going
yeah,
down the road. Mm-hmm.
absolutely. So um would you say is Pretty Focus worth it?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. I don't think that you necessarily, I know we've talked a lot about creativity. I think that's important. It's an art. Photography is an art, definitely. You have to have, somewhat of a creative eye in what you're doing, but I wouldn't let that hold you back if you think, well, I'm not a creative person. Those skills can be learned. It's, I, when I was still a student and was still having my practice shots reviewed, I likened it one time to algebra. And if you did great in algebra, good for you. Didn't I didn't understand algebra until I took college algebra. But it was kind of like that. It's like one day it just will click. So if you're a current student and you're feeling like, man, aperture and ISO and why is this not working? Just stick with it. It will click for you. I had one photo shoot where I was like, oh, I get it now. I get the balance of all of it.
Good.
So definitely worth it. At a very minimum, you get great teachers, a great skill set that even if you weren't to do it now, you can take it down the road with you and stuff. So yes, definitely worth the investment. I've made my investment back and then some.
I love it. I love it. That's the best. Robin, thank you so much for being here
You bet.
tonight and sharing your experience with Pretty Focus with us. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching this. I hope that you learned a lot. I hope that you found this was insightful. I think it's always so fascinating to listen to grads and how they run their business, what life has been like with them or for them since they've graduated. So I always learn so much from these. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to just drop them in the comments. Tag me in them, and then I'll be on to respond as soon as I can. But we just appreciate you guys for being here, or appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being here, and we will talk to you later.